Book of Heaven. Volume 9. The 2nd of June to the 29th of July 1910. Page 33 to 38. June 2, 1910. The soul must die to everything in order to rise again, more beautiful. As I was feeling very bad and as if everything was over, I was lamenting to Jesus about this total abandonment by Him, and Jesus told me, "My daughter, these are divine ways, to die and to rise again continuously. See, nature itself is subject to these deaths and to these risings. The flower is born and dies, but to rise again more beautiful, while if it never died, it would grow old, it would lose the liveliness of its complexion, the fragrance of its scent. And here is also the simile with my being, which is ever old and ever new. The seed is sowed under the earth, as though buried so as to make it die, and in fact it dies, to the point of being pulverized, but then it rises again, more beautiful, even more, multiplied, and so with all the rest. If this happens in the natural order, much more in the spiritual order must the soul be subject to these deaths and to these risings, such that while it seems that she has triumphed over everything and abounds in fervor, in graces, in union with me, in virtues, and that she has acquired as many new lives in everything, I hide myself and it seems that everything dies around her. I give strokes of a true master, helping to make everything die for her, and when it appears to me that everything has died for her, like sun, I come out, I unveil myself, and with me everything rises again, more beautiful, more vigorous, more faithful, more grateful, more humble, in such a way that, if there was anything human, death has destroyed it, making everything rise again to new life. July 4, 1910. The agony in the garden was, in a special way, for the help of the dying. The agony on the cross was for help at the last moment, at the very last breath. Continuing in my usual state full of privations and of bitterness, I was thinking about the agony of our Lord, and the Lord told me, "My daughter, in a special way I wanted to suffer the agony in the garden, in order to help all of the dying to die well. Look well at how my agony is combined with the agony of Christians. Tediums, sadnesses, anguishes, the sweat of blood. I felt the death of all and of each one, as if I were really dying for each one in particular. So I felt the tediums, the sadnesses, the anguishes of each one within me, and with my own I offered help, comfort and hope to all. So that, as I felt their deaths in me, they might all receive the grace to die all in me, as though in one single breath, with my breath, and to be beatified immediately by my divinity." If the agony in the garden was in a special way for the dying, the agony on the cross was for help at the last moment, at the very last breath. They are both agonies, but one is different from the other. The agony in the garden, full of sadnesses, of fears, of anxieties, of frights. The agony on the cross, full of peace, of imperturbable calm. And if I cried out, "I thirst," it was the insatiable thirst that all might breathe their last in my last breath. And in seeing that many would go out of my last breath, out of grief I cried out, "Sitio." I thirst. And this, Sitio, still continues to cry out to all and to each one like a bell at the door of each heart, "I thirst for you, O soul. Oh please, never go out of me, but enter into me and breathe your last in me." So, 6 are the hours of my passion which I gave to men in order to die well. The 3 in the garden were for help in the agony. The 3 on the cross for help at the very last sigh before death. After this, who could not look at death with a smile? More so for one who loves me, for one who tries to sacrifice himself on my very cross. Do you see how beautiful death is, and how things are changed? In life I was despised. The very miracles did not produce the effects of my death. Even up to the cross there were insults. But as soon as I breathed my last, death had the power to change things. All beat their breasts, confessing me the true Son of God. My very disciples plucked up courage, and even those who were hidden became brave and asked for my body, giving me honorable burial. Heaven and earth, in full voice, confessed me the Son of God. Death is something great, something sublime, and this happens also for my own children. In life they are despised, oppressed. Those very virtues which, like light, should make those who were around them remain half-veiled. Their heroisms in suffering, their abnegations, their zeal for souls, cast lights and doubts in those who surround them. And I myself permit these veils, so as to preserve with more safety the virtue of my dear children. But as soon as they die, I withdraw these veils, since they are no longer necessary, and the doubts become certainties, the light becomes clear, and this light makes others appreciate their heroism. They pay esteem to everything, even to the smallest things. Therefore, what cannot be done in life, is made up for by death. This, as for what happens down here. That which happens up there, then, is truly surprising and enviable to all mortals. July 8, 1910. For Jesus, the body is like the tabernacle, the soul is like the pyx. Being very afflicted because of the privation of my highest good, and having received communion, in receiving the Holy Host, it stopped in my throat, and as I suckled it in order to push it down, I suckled a sweet and delicious humor. Then, after suckling very much, it went down, and I could see the host changed into a baby, who said, "Your body is my tabernacle, your soul is the pyx that contains me, the beating of your heart is like the host that serves me in order to transform myself into you, as if within a host, with this difference, that in the host, as it is consumed, I am subject to continuous deaths, while the beating of your heart, symbolizing your love, is not subject to be consumed, and so my life is continuous. Therefore, why so much affliction about my privations? If you don't see me, you feel me, if you don't feel me, you touch me, and now with the fragrance of my perfumes which diffuse around you, now with the light with which you feel invested, now by making a liquor that cannot be found on earth descend into you, now by just touching you, and the many other ways which are invisible to you. Now, in order to obey, I will write these things that Jesus says happen to me often, and also while being fully awake. These fragrances, I myself am unable to tell what kind they are, I call, the fragrance of love, and I feel it at communion, if I pray, if I work, especially if I have not seen him, and I say to myself, today he has not come. Don't you know, O Jesus, that without you I cannot be, nor do I want to be? And immediately, and almost suddenly, I feel as though invested by that fragrance. Other times, as I move, or if I move the bedsheets, I feel that fragrance coming out, and in my interior I hear him say, I am here. Other times, while I am all afflicted, as I go about raising my eyes, a ray of light comes before my sight. However, these things I take into no account, nor do they satisfy me. That which, alone, makes me happy is Jesus. All the rest I receive with certain indifference. I wrote this only to obey. July 29, 1910. The two pillars on which the soul must lean. Continuing in my usual state, I felt I was so very bad, and even more, I felt troubled because even the confessor says that I have very much fallen out of my early state, otherwise Jesus would come. So, having received communion, I lamented to bless Jesus about his privations, asking him to have the goodness of telling me what is the evil I do, for I would gladly give my life rather than displease him. How many times have I told you, if you see that I am about to offend you, even slightly, make me die? And Jesus told me, my daughter, do not trouble yourself. Have I not said years ago that in order to chastise the world I would not come so often to relieve myself with you, and as a consequence, I would not come too often, though I would never leave you, and in order to make up for my frequent coming and going, I would permit Mass and Communion every day, so that you might draw the strength which you used to draw from my continuous visits, so much so, that I reached the point of threatening the confessor if he would not offer to do it? Yet, who does not know the chastisements that have happened in the meantime? Entire cities destroyed, rebellions, the withdrawal of grace from the evil, and also from the very religious who are evil, so that those poisons, those wounds which they had inside, might come out. Ah! I can take no more, the sacrileges are enormous. Yet, this is still nothing compared to the chastisements that will come. Had I not said this before, you would have some reason to become alarmed. You, however, must lean on two pillars to be able to live with full confidence. One is my will. In my will there cannot be sins. My will smashes all passions and sins to pieces. Even more, it pulverizes them, to the point of destroying their roots. If you lean on the pillar of my will, darkness will convert into light, doubts into certainty, hopes into possession. The second pillar on which you must lean is the firm will and continuous attention not to offend me, even slightly. Disposing one's own will to suffer everything, to face everything, to be submitted to everyone, rather than displease me. When the soul sees that she is leaning continuously on these pillars, which form more than her very life, she can live with greater confidence than if she lived with my continuous favors. More so, since I permit this state also to dispose you to departing from this earth.